beautiful souls. I am Awakened Soul, and today we're going to be reviewing Bitcoin. We're going to be setting it up for our next trade more than anything. So I like to start on my weekly time frame. And actually, I'm going to use the index chart. I shouldn't have erased it. It's okay. So when you come in to set up your charts, it's really important for you to understand that the charts are not going to do what you want them to do. So you come in and erase everything. It is important for you to understand that. And the reason is because it's all psychology. When you start off on a fresh chart, you understand that you come in with no expectations, with no emotions, and it's important for you to realize that. So on my index chart, I'm just going to place a basic trend line on my monthly, right? Turn on your magnet. I like to use the index because it has a lot of great history under the log scale too. So I'm just going to do one touch, two touches, okay? Simple, basic. And I'm not going to go so in deep in the monthly chart, but just, basic support, resistance. What do you see? Price action above the monthly trend line. We broke down, we retested, and it looks like we're coming back down. Today is technically still May 31st, but June 1st in other parts of the world. And with that being said, we do have a fresh monthly candle. So let's get our monthly range, right? Using the previous candle, that was our high. This is our low. Let's go on the weekly. On the weekly, let's just fix our trend lines, right? Make them nice and tight and cute. So on our weekly, right, because we're just focused on price action, we want to just set up a trade for right now. Where is Bitcoin going today? Or where could I enter a position? So I'm going to look at the previous candle and mark my weekly range. And as you can see, and I do color coordinate everything, because sometimes I do TA without my voice. So just know that monthlies are red, weeklies are orange, just in case you see them in my charts. So my day, what am I going to do in my day? I'm going to set my range. Where's my range? Just looking at the previous candle, right? You got your high. Usually my daily is yellow, but because I have a white background, I'm going to be using pink. Okay, so that's your daily trading range, right? So what is it telling you? What is the candle, today's candle telling us? Telling us it broke daily support. Okay, so once I have my range, I also on the daily, I want to know my POC. I think it's critical. I love to check on my POC. And it's just for support and resistance. It's for me to visualize where price action could come back to or where it rejected from. Like we could see here, it rejected from our daily POC. Definitely mark it, whatever makes you happy, right? And label it. Another thing that I've been doing lately, I think is really cool. Let me delete this. Is using the Trader XO levels. Oh my god, great indicator. So it shows us the daily open, the weekly open, and the monthly open. And I use them as like support and resistance. So I just erase the wicks right here. So just visualizing on my contraction phase, right? I'm gonna label critical support and resistance zones. So this is my monthly, right? So wherever there's 3 or more dots aligned, right, it's just gonna give me like critical zones for me to keep in mind, I would say. Right, so we have 2 critical monthly areas here, and now we're gonna do orange is weekly. Let me turn off my magnet. So let me just extend it a little bit. This is my orange, and I like to do it without the wicks, just so you could visualize what I'm doing more than anything, right? Just highlight important ones. We got 3 back to back here. And we're going to do this one in the middle. Right here. Perfect. Okay, so now that I have my critical day, there's not much day. The day ones are all over, so I'm just using the weekly and the monthly ones. Wonderful. Let me bring my wicks back in. And that just is telling me and guiding me, right, that price action is breaking critical weekly support, critical daily support. Remember, our daily range is in pink. I like to turn on my 1226 EMAs. Those are the EMAs that I use, that I love. Oh, I didn't set my trend line here really quick. Really important. On my daily time frame, right? 1 touch, 2 touch, and I'm choosing the higher low because my indicator is guiding me to choose this higher low. This pink, because our daily is pink. So what do we see right here? I think it's a great observation here to kind of stop and pause and just look into the charts. What do you see? Okay, based on my trend line break, we broke down, we retested, and now we're coming back down. And I think that's important to observe just how the wicks are playing, right? And what's our daily target? You already know, guys. Daily target 22. Okay. If you're not following me on Twitter, please follow me on Twitter. And I do have a Telegram, a course, all the good stuff. But I'm here to provide value. I'm here to teach you more than anything. And we'll go from there, right? So I am Awakened Soul _369. Beautiful games this morning. What can I say? I always said, and I do share my setups, and I think that's important, right? I set my setups, my range, and my expectations. Hot air balloon. But anyways, so where were we? So here are my daily, right? We got our daily range. We got our daily trend lines. Let's move on to our 4 hours. What do we see in our 4 hours? Really important. Within the 4 hours, I want you to understand market structure. I think it's important to understand market structure in all time frames. But in the 4 hours as a day trader, I think it's more critical. Market structure, right? Understand that in the daytime, this is a full contraction zone, right? Contraction zones are sideways movements, right? We could go back in history and just on the daily hover over critical sideways movements. But within every daily, if you go to the 4 hours, you understand that there's contraction phases within the 4 hours, right? Sideways movements, 1, we see 2 here, 3, right? And it's important for you to understand this because it's how the markets work and move. So right now we were in a contraction phase and it looks like we're in a trend down, right? So it's not what we think, it's not what we imagine, it's not how we feel. It's what are the charts telling us more than anything. So on my 4 hour, what I'm going to do is set my 4 hour range. So right now I just visualize and see that a lot of weekly what was support completely broke through, right? So now it's being used as resistance. So could this price action go back up? I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's going to be a really hard time. It definitely could. So my 4 hour range, right? I got my 4 hours are always green. My high, my low, based on previous candles. What else do I want to see? I want to see my higher high, lower low indicator because that's going to help me in market structure, right? After a high. But remember, this could be a trend. So the trend is not completely done. So that's something to consider, right? A contraction phase, then we had a trend up, we had a contraction phase, now trend down. So could this be our contraction phase? That could be definitely a possibility. So we just play what we see right now. So what I'm going to do is connect some 4 hour trend lines. Really important for me to connect 4 hour trend lines. as I do trade with trendline breaks, support and resistance breaks, 1226 EMAs being on my side. So I want to set this beautiful trend line here, and it's going to be green. So what's my green target? What is my target? So based on this right one touch and right cross two touch, this is my highest peak. So see, I didn't, So 26.9, okay, so we did already officially hit that target. Let me turn on my magnet here. So, and the reason is we officially hit it is because 4-hour targets are big for me. I usually see big reactions within 4-hour targets. So as you can see, we hit it, we reacted, we came back down. So my next 4-hour target would be based on this price action, right? And I hope I'm not losing you. Okay, so we have that support that broke down. First 4-hour target was hit. All right, let's highlight it so we know it's a 4-hour target. And just like we have support, let's have a 4-hour resistance trend line here. Let's go down to our smaller time frames. What are we seeing? Where's the flow going? It's important for you to observe this, right? 1226 EMAs, we're in a bearish trend. How do you know that? Price action is above 1226. That's a bullish trend. Price action is below 1226. That's a bearish trend. 2 hours are really good for me to, again, check my trend. Trend is down. I also have my indicator, my own indicator. So the flow is flipping. You can see it here for bullish to bearish. So on my 1 hour though, my 1 hours are big for highs and lows because everything is highs and lows. And the reason, and I usually keep it in 15. I think it's a good number. I've been, playing around with it a lot on my 1 hour. That's where I like to bring it out the most. On my 1 hour, what is it telling you? Okay, we had a lower low marked here. What's the best scenario or the next scenario? We're going to have a lower high, right? And we can retrace and then continue to the upside, absolutely. Or we could have lower high and then continue to the downside, right? And it's critical for you to understand that in your 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour, where's your contraction phase? We're gonna call this our contraction phase, and this looks like a ripsaw now that I'm looking at it. You see the trend phase, ripsaw? It might be going up now. Lots of, the only thing that's holding me back from, well, a lot of things are holding me back from taking a long, because we are in a downtrend, right? I don't like to trade against trends. But another observation that I'm making here, okay, this is my 1 hour. My 1 hours are going to be blue, right? Just acknowledge what you see. We have like this channel coming down. But look at this. This is throwing me off right here. It's like an H, then rips up, down, right? Okay. I'm thinking and trying to explain at the same time, so it's a little complicated here. I'm just trying to go with the flow. What do I think? What do I assume? What are the charts telling me, right? We're gonna go down. Nothing yet. The only thing I'm knowing in the 1 hour is that I'm expecting a lower high. On the 30-minute, all right, we broke this trend line to the downside, then we crossed down. So what's not to say that this is another form of a trend line, right? We could definitely come back, have a nice retracement. Let's pull a fib from the top to the bottom. Let's see how, I have a bear flag, fib, sorry. This is, if you want to screenshot it, this is the bear flag fib. And usually bear flags retrace to the 38.2. So 38.2, I'm going to go ahead and mark it. Another thing that's important too, because, right, I'm thinking about this being a whole contraction phase. With that being said, this could be a big diamond, guys. Check that out. Definitely could be a big diamond. So that's a possibility to consider. So my range, right, because we are in a downtrend, remember 1 hour is telling me lower high. This is telling me, okay, we could go up, and this would be a bullish, a diamond. So what I'm going to do is set a range. How do I determine where's my range? Usually I like to look at it in the 30 minutes, start off in the 30 minutes. What's my 30 minutes telling me? It's telling me that we are crossing back up on the daily. Wow, 30 minutes. So my POC, remember we have that 26.90, that's my POC. What is it? I'm pretty sure that was the POC. No, it's not the daily POC. This is why I like to... Oh, I know what it was. It was the retrace, right? The flat, the 3.8 retrace here. Okay. Okay. So because we have a lot of weekly, right, resistance coming up, so for me to take a long, I want to see this trend line break. So I already broke, so that's one check off list. I want to see 1226 EMAs flip bullish, and they already flipped, and then my support that just broke bullish. And that's how I would determine to, you know, because of the bear flag situation, I'm going to wait for price action to climb up the 38.2 retracement that we had pulled earlier in the 30 minutes, right? And then we marked it. We marked that 38.2 retracement here. Because anything under it, if price action stays under it, it'll still be a valid bear flag. Until price action starts closing above it, that'll be an invalid bear flag. And because we're in a downtrend too, like I don't feel that comfortable longing. For me, it's not about getting the wick. It's mostly about being on the right side. So I really want, like, like a nice trend. Like I want to see this, right? And then you'll be able to like high, then low, then high. So my entry for my long would be right here, the next higher low. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you learned something. I'm Awakened Soul. I love you guys, and remember to do everything with love.